Hi Seven, welcome back to this 9th video in the series of lessons on Gothic literature. This week we're going to be concentrating on ghost stories, okay? So we're going to start with a few activities just to get us thinking about ghost stories, and then we're going to look at an extract from Henry James's Turning of the Screw. Okay, so our learning objective this week is to analyse what makes an effective ghost story. And our success criteria in order to get there is 1, to identify traditions in Gothic texts, and 2, to make effective vocab and narrative choices of your own. So, the first activity I would like you to do is write down the word ghost in your book or on your laptop or however you want to do it. So write that word down, ghost. And then around that word, you're going to write down how many synonyms you can think of for the word ghost. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. So for example, you might think of spirit as another word for ghost. Okay, straight after that, around the ghost, you can write adjectives to describe that. So, for example, a ghost looks eerie. So adjectives to describe a ghost is the next thing I want you to do. Okay then, so we're now going to set the scene. So I want you to answer 3 questions for me. So question number 1, what makes sitting around the campfire a prime place for telling ghost stories? Number 2, what else makes an effective setting for a ghost story? And number 3, what other good settings can you think of? If you need to, pause or go back to those questions to listen to them again. So answer those 3 questions in your book, and then we can move on. Okay, so before we read some of Henry James's Turning of the Screw, I'm just going to give you a quick plot overview of what is actually going on. Okay, so an anonymous narrator recalls a Christmas Eve gathering at an old house where guests listen to one another's ghost stories. A guest named Douglas introduces a story that involves 2 children, Flora and Miles, and his sister's governess with whom he was in love. After procuring the governess's written record of events from his home, he provides a few introductory details. A handsome bachelor persuaded the governess to take a position as governess for his niece and nephew in an isolated country home after the previous governess died. Douglas begins to read from the written record, and the story shifts to the governess's point of view as she narrates her strange experience. So the governess begins her story with her first day at Bly, the country home, where she meets Flora and a maid named Mrs. Gross. The governess is nervous but feels relieved by Flora's beauty and charm. The next day she receives a letter from her employer, which contains a letter from Miles's headmaster saying that Miles cannot return to school. The letter does not specify what Miles has done to deserve expulsion, and alarmed, the governess questions Mrs. Gross about it. Mrs. Gross admits that Miles has on occasion been bad, but only in the ways boys ought to be. The governess is reassured as she drives to meet Miles. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're now going to look at an extract from the text. So this extract I'm going to upload to Teams so that you can read it in your own time. So that's the next thing I want you to do. Okay, have a look at that extract for me. And then I want you to answer 3 questions about that extract. So the first question is, what effect does the first story have on its audience? The second is, where is the story being told? And the third is, what impression are you given of Douglas's story? So now that we've got a bit of context about what's going on, I want you to read the extract, answer those questions, but I don't want you to just write like 2 words. I want you to really concentrate and write a paragraph for each of those questions. Okay, so quite a lot of writing today, but it's all good. You'll smash it. So well done and keep going.